أعزائي مشاهدي قناة البشارة في كل مكان، أهلا وسهلا بكم. حلقة جديدة متميزة كالعادة من برنامجكم خدمات البشارة. الحقيقة تميز حلقاتي من تميز ضيوفي، وضيفي النهاردة متميز في أكتر من مجال، في مجال العقارات ومجال القروض ومجال البناء والبروبرتي مانجمنت. الحقيقة دايما بنقول إنه 5 in 1. الأستاذ توفيق بشاره صاحب ومؤسس ريماكس أولمبيك. مستر توفيق أهلا وسهلا بك، منورنا في قناة البشارة.
شكرا ثانك يو على الانفيتيشن.
مستر توفيق، يمكن دايما احنا بنعرف من حضرتك احوال سوق العقارات والقروض من خلال طبعا وجود حضرتك في كاليفورنيا وخبره اكثر من 25 سنه في المجال. حاليا الفتره الاخيره الاقتصاد الى حد كبير في ابس اند داونز، الناس منزعجه شويه من اخبار البنوك اللي قفلت، شايفه ان في مشاكل. طبعا الانفليشن مازال، وطبعا رجعت اسعار الجاز عليت تاني، ففي قلق في السوق،
خوف.
والقلق يجيب خوف.
فير. المشكله انه كان الانفليشن، لانه كمان الانترست ريت يمكن يطلع كمان 0.25%. الفيد بكيب telling us 0 maybe a half. الانترست ريت هذيك الجمعه كانت 7%، فاذا طلعت كمان 0 to half like 7.5، يعني that make the inflation, to control the inflation, the real estate is going to be going down a little bit more. يعني so far it's correction about 7 to 10% real estate value. الأسعار قاعدة بتنزل لأنه الناس بخافوا كتير، و inventory is very small amount، عشان هيك الانترست ريت بيعطي الناس خوف كتير فبطلوا يشتروا. والسيلر ناو معظم الناس مش قاعدين يبيعوا بيتهم، فقاعدين بحطوها على الأجارات. فعندنا الأجارات إسا push على الرنتل more than the housing market. it's very tough right now لأنه الناس مش عارفة شو بده يساوي. وبعدين قصة البنوكي زي ما قلتي، a lot of بنوكي they have the regional bank, not the big bank، يعني Wells Fargo والbig banks والchase هدول I think they have very solid financial. اللي بيخافوا على regional bank, the local bank, that they have taken a lot of risk، خصوصا the CVB bank على Silicon Valley. It's a very risky bank. They were doing a lot of joint venture مع النيو ستارت اب. فلما طلعنا على البنك CVB انه كان هو يعني اذا عندك انه ستارت اب كومباني تك كومباني will raise money about let's say $10 million in funding, CVB was given another $10 million in line of credit or loan so they could get it started. فعشان هيك they were very risky type of investment. ولما بطل في الستوك ماركت طلعت كتير، فبطل في joint venture available or high tech or new company coming on the market لأنه they're very scared. CVB almost they had no money to be able to fund. فعشان هيك كان would be a market crash a little bit on the banking.
Yes. طيب خليني من كلام حضرتك أسأل بقى شوية تفريعات كده. يعني السيلرز مش عاوزين يبيعوا، فبالتالي في لو انفنتوري ومفيش بيلدرز يبني جديد.
مظبوط. البيلدر خايف كمان لأنه خايف يعمر وما فيش حدا يشتري. فthey're everybody kind of like watch and see زي بسموه، بده يطلعوا see what happened with the market. بس the demand is still very low على الهاوزنج، عشان هيك everybody scared of it.
تمام. الباير مش مقدم خوفا من سوق العقارات انه مش مستقر.
المستقره والانترست ريت، لانه خايف الانترست ريت يطلع، واذا طلع الانترست ريت كمان مره 7.5، لانه في واحد من الزباين تبعنا بلش على 6.5 and we qualify him على 700,000. لما طلع الريت 7% he couldn't qualify for the same house, so فانجبر ينزل يلاقي بيت ارخص almost 100,000 low. it's become like a very tough to find based on the qualification. وهي أصعب إشي right now لأن للبنكينج، لأنه إذا we qualify him at 6.5 والinterest rate طلع 7، now the whole thing change market wise, البرايس wise، الqualification، الانكم كله بتغير.
طيب لو هو already على 6.5 مش we lock the rate ولا؟
If some of them they lock it, some of them they forget to lock it, or they don't want to lock it, or they're مثلا بيقول هسه بدي ينزل الشهر الجاي اللي مبين فيه الايكونومي، ففي ناس taking the risk انه خايفين ينزل، بس بنفس الوقت بيطلع. it's a risk taken. في واحد هذيك الجمعه we almost gonna lock him, one of our client at 7%، بس هاي الجمعه نزل 0.25%، so we locked him at 6.75. يعني it's a risk we taken.
بالضبط. طيب برضو في حته الناس برضو قلقانه منها، حته برضو ان لما بيجي يشتري في الوقت الحالي ما هو خايف ان سعر البيت ينزل تاني.
ما
ما هو في انفليشن، فاسعار
مظبوط.
البيوت بتنزل. السيلر مش عاوز لان كده هيخسر، وهو عايز متعود على المكسب اللي كان بيكسبه السنتين اللي فاتوا، الهيوج اماونتس او الماركت اللي كان موجود. دلوقتي السيلر مش عاوز وماشي. هل الايجارات زادت يا مستر توفيق؟
الايجارات لا
ما زادتش، يعني الناس بتأجر بيوتها لكن ما فيش ريت الإيجار ما ارتفعش.
ليش يعني آخر شهرين بس يعني احنا كان عندنا مثلا بمنطقة ممكن نحط بيت بيتين للأجار، هسه عندنا 10 houses for rent. فالرنتل now the tenant has more choices to look for. فthen السيلر صار ينزل اسعار الاجار عشان اتراكت التننت. ففي عندنا مثلا لسه اجارات قاعده بننزلها، بنحكي مع الاونر بنقول له اتس تو هاي، اللي كان يطلب 4000 صرنا نقول له خذ 3700، اللي كان يطلب 3500 نزله ل 2800 عبون just to attract a new tenant، لانه التننت now عنده more inventory. فthen it's pushing on the rent، لانه مش السيلر بدوش يبيع البيت بسعر واطي وبده يكيب الهاوس، so شو his choice is to rent it. بالضبط. فعندنا rental property now, our business is expanded, it's getting more and more people calling us على rental more than to buy, it's more like rent, to rent the houses.
ودي ميزه ان يبقى عندك اكتر من مجال بتشتغل فيه. يعني مش مجرد ريال استيت او اللونز او لكن كمان موضوع البروبرتي مانجمنت، فده شيء يعني بيعوض شويه.
exactly. فاحنا عندنا مثلا لما slow down in the real estate بنشوف البروبرتي مانجر get busy، لما الريل استيت get busy الريل استيت البروبرتي مانجر get slow down. we shifted with the market، عشان هيك الماركت it's daily إذا بسموه daily change. مش عارفين شو بيصير، فمن ضلنا keep the customer comfortable enough to let him give him the peace of mind what's happening with the market.
تمام. يمكن الفترة دي عشان التاكس سيزون ناس كتير عايزة تبتدي تشتغل في موضوع البيوت أو بتدور، يعني زي ما قلت لحضرتك في الأول إن هناك برضه فرصة للشراء، يعني ما زال 2023 برغم إن الانفنتوري ممكن يكون محدود لكن الأسعار بتنزل عشان الناس تقدر يعني يبقى في إقبال على الشراء. فبالتالي ممكن نبتدي الناس تفكر شوية في الشراء حتى لو الريت شوية عالي لأن ده بيعوض ده. طيب القروض بقى، في ناس ممكن تيجي تفكر تقول ايه، طب انا هختار القرض، يعني انا هختار اللون، انا عايز اللون الفلاني. لما يجي حد بيجي يشتري يقول لك انا عاوز اللون الفلاني، او انا هاخد كونفنشنال لون، هاخد FHA لون، ازاي حضرتك بتقول له لا ما ينفعش، احنا وي هاف تو جو بلا بلا بلا، ازاي يعني تمشي ازاي؟
احنا that's where our business comes in. احنا الكونسلتنج، يعني احنا زي بسموه our experience. فاحنا بنطلع اول شيء على 3 pillars in the loan. بنطلع على الكريدت تبعته، how good the credit, and the second pillar is the income and الانكم تبعه قديش والداون بيمنت. فذاتس ذا 3 pillars. فلما بناخذ الانفورميشن من الباير or the new potential buyer, we look at that and based on the information we see we call okay, you based on what we have, this is the loans you qualify for and this is the loan you cannot qualify for. That's how our business, us as a consulting for the client to help him navigate. لأنه بيجي عندنا a lot of buyers they are confused. بيطلعوا على Google and they don't know if could I get FHA, could I get conventional, could I get everything based on all these 3 pillars important: the income, the credit, the down payment. These are important. فعشان هيك yes we help him عشان ياخذ the perfect loan and the perfect rate. That's what our job is doing on the daily.
لو حد جاي ياخد بيت النهارده يشتري بيت، المفروض يجي لك قبلها بقد ايه عشان in order to put everything in order؟
it doesn't take طويل. المشكله انه احنا gather the information. في ناس بنقول له اعطيني التاكس ريتيرنز، بقول لك بدي اروح عند المحاسب، I don't have them, I have to copy them. Typically if I get all the document within days we could find out. يعني 2-3 days we could tell you, you qualify for FHA, no you don't, you qualify for conventional, you do jumbo. we could tell him right away. بس في جماعة من صحابنا بروحوا مثلا على البيج بانكس it take weeks and weeks and weeks لأنه it has to go through one layer after another. إحنا our underwriter or processor in-house, we could tell him okay, this is the best program for you, but we don't have to wait. لأنه مرات timing is the essence. إذا taken too long the house could be gone or the interest rate could go up.
Yes.
But that's important. Yeah.
طيب انا كنت هسأل عن النقطة دي، ايهما افضل؟ طبعا انا عارفة ان حضرتك كالندر ممكن تبقى شهادتك مجروحة، لكن احنا بنتكلم من ناحية مهنية.
Yes.
ايهما افضل، ان انا اروح لبنك واقول له انا عايزة لون، ولا اروح للندر واقول له انا عايزة لون؟
The big banks, that's those one you see in the street, they're not specialized in mortgage lending. They're not specialized. They're more like credit card, car loans, saving account, checking account. The big lenders, they're not on the daily street, يعني اللي بتروحوا على main street. Those typically they're called mortgage lenders, specialize in lending. That's all they do, residential or commercial or apartment building. That's all they do. They're fixed to do the best program and the best rate. The big banks, those maybe 5 or 6 of them, they're not specialized in it. في واحد من الزباين تبعي قال لي عنده good connection مع so and so bank, big banks. قلت له it's gonna take time. لا أصحابي, I know him very well. Typically the loan would take maybe 15 to 20 to 30 days to close. It took us 2 months. And calling the bank, and the bank was the underwriter in Tennessee, the underwriter in San Francisco, يعني everywhere in the country. Every day we have to call and chase 5 or 6 people, and the bank, they want to lower their costs. One person in this state and one person in that state, and all of them trying to do the loan, which is, it's tough. فإحنا we like everything local, underwriter within our very local to us, the bank lender very local to us. فعشان هيك we don't go with the big banks typically. They're very strict requirement عليهم.
تمام. طيب الفرق بين القروض ايه مستر توفيق؟ يعني ايه الفرق بين الاف اتش اي لون والكونفنشنال لون؟ وهل هم دول بس اللونز الموجوده ولا في انواع؟
لا في انواع كثير انواع. الاف اتش اي والكونفنشن they're the most popular لانه الاف اتش اي الجفرمنت بسموه program from the government. They want incentive to those buyer first time home buyer. كله اوكي كمان we like to give you FHA which is guaranteed by the government. Federal Reserve, federal government guarantee to the bank. The lender, our lender will issue the loan, but the government will secure it and make like a guarantee insurance on the loan. So as a had a default, the government will pay the lender part of the loan back. Somewhat FHA. The FHA it's famous لأنه بتطلب 3.5% down, which is very small amount. 3.5% down. بعدين the FICO score requirement now is down to 580. Okay, the conventional its requirement a little bit higher. Sometimes the interest rate على conventional is a little bit cheaper than the FHA. The FHA require more security, فالinterest rate دائما شوي أعلى من الconventional. فإذا عندنا زبون مثلا الكريدت تبعته margin بسموه يعني تحت 600 يعني 580 585 بنقول له اوكي you don't qualify for conventional. ليش نتعب حالك or push for 40 days بعدين get denied وروح let's go to FHA, it's much easier. فعشان هيك ال FHA سواء بيجي لل first time home buyer الكريدت تبعتهم margin, down payment very low, they require gift letter, they require a lot of stuff. We give them the FHA program. The conventional, average conventional right now, في عندنا 3.5 وفي عندنا 5% conventional. بس ال conventional FICO score has to be 620 and above. فلما عندك زبون or client the FICO score low and then they don't have that good income and the good credit, then we push them to the FHA. بعدين الراتio income to ratio يعني how much you make monthly compared to your mortgage. The FHA they're more flexible. They could go up to 52, 55 high back end, some on the back end compared to the income and expenses and your mortgage payment, your car payment, all of them. For those the most popular program available. بعدين if you want to go to the next layer which is they call it the stated income program, هدول معمولات للself-employed اللي عنده محطة بنزين, اللي عنده liquor store, and they cannot show their income. They call it non-QM program. It require a 20% down. That's now the large down payment. وإحنا رحنا من 3.5 to 20%, but they don't need to show their income. So the only thing they have to show is the down payment 20% and a good FICO score over 680, 660, a higher FICO score, and they have to show they are self-employed, عندهم البزنس، عندهم the business license، عندهم CPA، عندهم accountant، بس بدهنش يفرجوا الانكم. فthey're another lenders بسموه non-QM program. and هدول very popular our people لأنه معظم جماعتنا liquor store owner, restaurant owner, business owner بدهنش يفرجوا كل الانكم تبعهم, or they have like a corporation and then the corporation give them salary.
Yes.
and they keep their salary raw. It's meant, especially that type of program, meant for self-employed, 20%. That one of the program. The new program is coming up now with Cal Chafa is 103% up to 105%, which is now is a you don't have the down payment, and you don't have the ability to do the closing costs. Now Cal Chafa is specialized for California only.
Yes.
And you have to have a specific income, a specific county, يعني LA County, Orange County, San Bernardino. They offer, instead of first-time buyer to come to their city. مثلا Fontana now offering a huge program للpolice officer. بقول لك تعال عنا على our town and we'll give you the down payment and the closing costs, but live in our city. Why? They offer, لأنه police officers are going to drive what? With the police car. They're going to provide more safety to the neighborhood.
Sure.
People see the police department, the police officer, they're going to say, oh, wow, the crime is go down. They offer like a lot of those programs. For the nurses, they have a program. For doctors, they have a program. For everybody has a special program based on the county. So a lot of people بفكروش إنه there's 100%, but there is 103%. يعني إنه they offer the down payment and the closing cost. But this is one of the newest program we have in California.
تمام. طيب الفيرست تايم هوم باير بقى بيجي في المرتبه يعني الاولى، بمعنى ان هو لما بيجي يشتري وهو كفيرست تايم هوم باير بتبقى الامور كلها جديده عليه، لكن
مزبوط.
بيبقى some experience بقى from people around، فلكن بيبقى فيه some confusion كمان.
Yes.
ايه مميزات الفيرست تايم هوم باير؟ يعني ايه البنفيتس اللي ممكن ياخدها كفيرست تايم هوم باير؟
ما هو the best program زي ما قلنا لك is the FHA for first time home
For
buyer.
him. Yeah.
فبقول لك اوكي انا بدي the lowest down payment and the lowest rate and the lowest program. انا عندي شو مشاكل، مثلا طلعت من الجامعه، عندي كولكشن، عندي ستودنت لون، عندي مشكله كانت نسيت ادفع كولكشن انه كنت بالكولج وتخرجت لانه مشكلتنا احنا لما بامريكا انه the credit is one of the most important things. فلما الواحد بخلص الهاي سكول بروح على الكولج they don't get educated on the credit.
Yes.
on the FICO score credit. لانه احنا بلادنا بالميدل ايست لما بتشتري بيت بتجيب كوساينرز.
Yes.
بتجيب ابن عمك ابن عمتك كلها وبيجوا بيمضوا 5 6 بيمضوا على اللون and then they don't care about the credit لانه كلهم responsible.
Yes.
بس امريكا ما عندناش كوساينر that type of level انه they depend on the individual.
Yes.
as a person. فعشان هيك أنا try to educate the new young graduate from college or student إنه be careful about the credit, keep an eye. The good thing is في عنا a lot of app, you know, Credit Karma, many different
Yes.
apps that the student or anybody could check his credit, and if there is any problem, fix it right away. لأنه it's going to sit on your loan, on your credit for about 10 years.
Yes.
We don't want the bank to ask you شو سويت قبل 10 سنين. يقول لك I was student. rather to pay it or remove it عشان لما next the future لما بدك تشتري بيت إنه everything cleaned up. Yeah.
تمام.
Yeah.
طيب المورجج لندر او الشخص اللي بيدي اللونز، ازاي الباير يعرف ان هو he is the right person for him to deal with؟ يعني انا دلوقتي جيت لحضرتك
Yes.
فاخدت ريت معين، قلت لي انت هتاخدي مثلا 7%.
Yes.
ازاي انا اطمن واعرف ان 7% دي ده الاكزاكت ريت من غير ما تو شوب اراوند بقى واخد لان في ناس بتروح لواحد واثنين وثلاثه.
Yes, yeah.
طب ازاي انا اعرف ان ده الرايت ريت فور مي؟
الاشي إسا لما آخر the last 10 years after the real estate crash and the banking, the government stepped in and they create a lot of new program and a lot of new protection للconsumer. لأنه إذا I've been into it like زي ما قلنا لك حوالي 30 سنة. I've been into 4 different recession. The banking recession was one of the toughest one للأمريكان. The government decided to rebirth the whole thing, to change it.
Yes.
A couple of changes is they tell us you're gonna you're gonna make only a certain amount. Let's say you're gonna make 1.5 point. It doesn't matter what you sell to the customer. You could sell them FHA or conventional. Your income is that much. They limit you. فلإلي as a lender, doesn't matter. I'm giving you FHA or conventional. I'm making the same amount regardless. Before, was different. Before, if I sell you this program, I get more kickback. I get this more rebate. I get this from the lender. They give me bonuses. The government said, no, that's no more. No more bonuses, no more kickback. And a lot of lenders, I used to deal with them, they're no longer in the business. You know, countrywide, كل هدول big lenders, I used to deal with them for 20, 30 years. They're completely gone. فعشان هيك, the government stepped in and say, you're limited how much you can make. That's it. You could make this amount. It doesn't matter if you sell him orange or apple or whatever.
Yes.
So that's type of loan we are working with that. So the consumer is benefit. We're okay. لأنه we're giving him whatever it's available. And that's the program available based on his credit and income. فعشان هيك the consumer now, they should feel much safer now than 7 or 10 years ago. Yes.
Correct. يعني دلوقتي في منظومة جديدة موجودة بتضمن حق الباير ان اللندر ما يقدرش ان هو بمعنى اصح يتلاعب او ان هو يدي ريت اعلى او ان هو يبقى في مكاسب غير المسموح بيها.
وبعدين عملوا كمان a new agency, they call it the NMLS.
Yes.
The National Mortgage Loan Association. I have to be licensed, the broker has to be licensed, the underwriter has to be licensed, the process. يعني now if 10 people touch the loan, everybody has a number.
Yes.
For the government, if somebody messed up between the appraisal or the underwriter or the processor made like a funny business, everybody get in trouble or they get license suspended.
Yes.
Before ما كناش عندنا everybody. Now everybody, that caused us to lose almost about 50% of the loan officers in our business. And they couldn't get licensed. They have to do a background check on the guy if he's fraud or criminal or anything. To get the NMLS license is very tough, and you have to go to the next level of education. And then as a broker, we have to get higher level of education, and then we have to be certified every year. ما كناش عندنا certification, education every year, and pay the fees and do the background check. فيعني it's not the DRE, Department of Real Estate, they do it every 4 years. But the NMLS every year.
Every year.
So if you got in trouble this year, next year you don't get your license.
Yes.
فعشان هيك.
تمام. طيب ساعات ممكن الباير يلاقي نفسه مثلا ان هو instead of getting 7 ممكن يبقى 5.5. ان ممكن لندر يقول له هنديك على 5.5 مثلا. وبعد كده يكتشف ان ال 1.5 دي he paid for it as points مثلا.
To lower it from 7.
To lower it from 7 to 5.5. البوينتس دي كل بوينت بتبقى تقريبا بتمثل قد ايه؟
Almost a quarter بالريت. 1 point almost a quarter actually. So if بدك مثلا الريت 7, you want to lower it to مثلا قولي 6.5, you could pay up to 2.5 point to lower it to 6.5 to get a lower rate. But it's a new program available. One of the new program available, it's a 40-year program now instead of 30 years.
30 years.
That make it easier for the buyer to qualify. وبعدين a lot of new program coming up with the 5-year program. They call it 5-1. It's 5-year fix. After the 5 year become adjustable. So that gives the buyer almost 5 years of lower rate, like 5.5. Typically, we'll give him a temporary loan, that's some more, 5 years. But then hoping that the rate will continue, go up and go down, then he could refinance.
Yes.
There's a lot of program to get him to qualify to this first step. فعشان هيك lender incentive, they're doing a brand new program, 5 year, with 3 year, with 7 years to لوطوا شوية الريت now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. طيب بالنسبة للبروجرام اللي احنا قلنا ان هو ممكن يدفع الداون بيمنت والكلوزنج كوست تو اب تو 103%. ده بيبقى يعني لو قلنا اللون على 30 سنة ده بيبقى على قد ايه؟
30 سنة نفس الشيء.
بيمشي مع نفس اللون.
The same program, the same qualification, the same everything. الشيء الوحيد بالكالتشافا is you gotta qualified. And then we have to send it to the next agency, which is the CalChafa. It's California agency. So the loan get approved by, let's say, FHA. And then we go to CalChafa and they say, yes, we could give him a $20,000 loan as their down payment and then the closing cost. So they get almost 2 back-to-back loan for the down payment, for the helping the consumer to get into the house. بس الانترست ريت بتضلوا نفس whatever the rate is, it's going to be the same. فبعطوش incentive on the rate, only they give them the incentive as the down payment and the closing cost.
تمام. في اماكن بتبقى اراضي لايك او مباني موجوده على اماكن زراعيه او بتبقى زي اللي هي اليو اس دي اي لونز.
Yes.
دي شروطها ايه مستر توفيق؟ يعني في ناس مثلا بتحب انها تقعد في اماكن فيها طبيعه او تبقى عايزه ترجع انها تقعد شويه زي يكون رانش او حاجه زي كده. ده بيبقى شروطه ايه؟
It's a government loan, the same similar to FHA, بس بتطلعوا على البروبرتي الفارمينج what kind of income إذا مثلا إذا في عندك farm you're gonna collect some of the income from that. إذا عندك cows إذا عندك meat you're gonna do meat product or milk product or something or produce. California في عندنا a lot of produce, oranges and lemon, avocados. Then they look at that and that farming it's qualify for specific, but the rate and qualification all run under the government program.
Yes.
It's almost like similar to the FHA, and there is the VA loan. ما حكيناش على veterans loan. There's another veterans loan للveterans. نفس the same thing, the same program. It's all government run, but they give incentive different for farming than different than FHA on the city, different than farming area in the mountain or somewhere in the farm.
لكن لازم يكون الشخص اوريدي عنده الفارم دي، يعني عنده مزرعه وبعدين عاوز يزود او ياخد ارض.
لا بيشتريها براند نيو.
وممكن يكون هيعمل برودوس ممكن مش هيعمل. يعني ممكن ياخدها سكني فقط ومش هيبقى فيه انتاج.
مظبوط، فبيقدر يعملها بدون انتاج. بس 90% of the time it's the farm it has some kind of product in it to help the consumer. يعني they help the consumer as far as produce or everything. فعشان هيك they step in and say, okay, hey, I'm producing certain amount, but they don't have to guarantee I'm going to produce this amount of produce or whatever the farm. But they like to see what exactly you are producing so they could give you the loan. You know,
correct.
It could be very small. أنا عندي واحد كان عنده avocado he was producing almost just $1,000 a month in produce. But they give him the incentive. Hey, could you do? فبحب هو ال product so much. He got another loan to plant more avocados.
Yes.
He got another loan from them to be able to plant more avocados. They have incentive too. لأنه they need the produce of fruits for California.
يعني هم بيدوا حوافز او بيساعدوا ان هم يقدروا يشجعوا الناس اكتر على اذا كان الزراعه او التصنيع، اذا كان البان او ما شابه.
or meat product. لأن they want the incentive that's the product. Yes.
تمام. طيب ايه اهم النقط اللي ممكن اللندر احنا قلنا ممكن تاخد 2-3 days انه to approve it or not.
Yes.
ايه اللي ممكن يخلي اللندر او بمعنى اصح الاندر رايتر يقف يقول لا I'm not going to complete, I'm going to turn it down, to reject, to deny it, whatever. ايه اكتر حاجه؟
الداون payment, the source of the down payment اهم شيء. لانه source of the down payment بنقول له انت الزبون بيجي بنقول له oh I have the down payment. بقول له it's been in the bank or it's not in the bank. Yeah, it's in the bank. بس لما بناخذ البنك ستيتمنت بناخذ everything we see the money just came in 4 days ago. بنقول له طب where is the money? Oh, I had it in cash. It doesn't work there. That's a red flag on that. بعدين income could be another red flag. إنه بقول لك okay I'm making $100,000 a year. بنطلع على taxes. We saw there is a lot of write-off. He's getting 1099. He's getting W-2s. فالincome تبعه based on what we see in the taxes it's completely different. إنه في ناس بيقولوا okay I'm making $100,000 a year, but in reality maybe he making 70. لأنه maybe عنده car write-off, عنده gas write-off, عنده specific requirement that make his income lower لأنه he's writing off expenses. But the standard guy who make on W-2s or pay stub, it's easier. There's no complication. بس اللي عنده mix of بسموه W-2 income and 1099 income وعنده rental property income وعنده different income, so we have to add all this income as a whole and figure out his income, and that will take the time. مرات a lot of people has different income coming sources, but we have to look at all the sources and put them in some kind of numbers and figure out what he could qualify based on that number. فعشان هيك ال underwriter could turn it down is a number. His number and our number was different than we thought. the down payment, that was another big issue. And then the house. We had many houses has damages, has now, عشان a lot of rain in our
Yes.
California,
Yes.
there were a lot of roof leaks, there were a lot of foundation leaks, there has a mold
عفن.
العفن.
No.
The appraiser came in and said, oh, there's a lot of mold in the house, so they said no. We asked the seller to clean it up, fix it, and then we come back and send the appraisal again. So that's a lot of different issue could deny the loan or approve the loan.
طيب لو جينا لنقطة الداون بيمنت، لو أنا هجيب جيفت كار جيفت لاتر. الجيفت لاتر ده أنا مفروض هجيبهم whoever، لازم نمبر 1 لازم يبقى near relative.
It doesn't have to be near relatives, but because it's a gift letter, it's a gift. It's not a loan.
Yes.
A lot of people think, oh, أنا بدي أخذ مصاري من صاحبي, he's going to lend me the money. The lender say, no, you don't lend the money. It's supposed to be gift. Gift, I mean, is there is no loan back. That means you don't have to pay it back. فعشان هيك الgift letter has to be one. البنك, they like it to be some kind of relative. عشان بيعرفوا إن relative, they're going to give it to you as an uncle, aunt. You don't have to pay it back. So as a gift, and then they have to be sure the source of the down payment. لأنه إذا الaunt or the uncle is going to give you $50,000, they want to see which account it's coming from. Now the bank is not going to source it من أجد, but they have to show a bank account. It has 50,000. ال 50,000 أعطوك check or wire the money to your account to the buyer. Then they have to see that money coming out of the uncle to you as a down payment. They have to show the source. A check would be perfect. The check deposit into your account is perfect. That's the way they look at it. And then the bank statement from the uncle, and then the gift letter. So there's a lot of requirement. A lot of people they miss the point what we need. فمرات بقولوا, okay, here's the gift letter or here's the check. Okay, I need his bank account or to show he had the money into the account. So there is a lot of requirement on the gift letter to be that.
لازم الاماونت اللي هو as a gift يقعد قد ايه في البنك before we see it.
The uncle or the aunt,
whoever.
There's no timeline.
No timeline.
You just put it, if the bank account showed, the statement show 50,000, that's it. It doesn't matter if 2 months ago he had no money. They don't care about that. That's not, because that's not their buyer, that's the gift. So the only worry about the buyer himself to have his own money, it's been there for 3 months, seasoned, they call it, at least 3 months. But the uncle or the aunt or the gifter who's given the money, they don't have to source that money. They don't have to show it's been there for a year or 6 months or 3 months. It could be just the last 30 days, he put his money into the account, it showed in his balance, and then he showed the gift to his family member or the buyer, and the buyer has the money deposited in his account. To call it chain of the money. They want to trace the money. Where the money came from, how it came in, where you deposited. They call it the chain of the money.
تمام. طيب يعني هو مفروض ان الشخص اللي هيدي الجيفت ما لناش دعوه الفلوس قعدت في الاكونت بتاعه قد ايه.
مظبوط.
لكن المفروض ان هو يحول الجيفت او يدي التشيك ويقعد في حساب الباير قد ايه.
Doesn't have to be done. It could be on the closing of the date.
ممكن يقف نفس
الكلوزنج. Right, the closing date.
يعني 3 months دي مش is not a must بقى خلاص.
No, the 3 months is the guy, if the buyer عنده the down payment himself. Yeah.
Okay.
But the gift came from the uncle. الانكل بعطيه الجيفت letter. We see the bank statement. فمش وجوره يحول المصاري. Okay, بنقول له okay, next week we are closing. فالمصاري بتيجي له للباير. الباير بيعمل شيك للإسكرو. فدthen the money comes, they will see it, they will transfer it, they will see it in his account, then the money comes from his account to the escrow. So they're tracing all the money back and forth. Yeah.
تمام. تمام. طيب هل ممكن الشخص يعمل نيجوشيشن مع اللندر؟ يعني مثلا يجي يقول له طب انت اديتني ريت 7 مش ممكن نخليها 6.5 مش ممكن نخليها 6 هل في امكانيه للنيجوشيشن؟
البنك بعطيك الاوبشن بس you have to buy it down. يعني buy it down that means إذا بدك تدفع البوينت بقول لك اوكي 7% انت 0 points or 7.25 0 point. 6.9 you بتدفع half a point. 6.7 you pay 1. 6.5 you pay 2. So they have the table.
Yes.
So they give him all the choices. بقول لك اوكي I'm limited on my down payment. ما عنديش الداون payment. I'm getting a gift from my uncle. I don't have the money. Let me have the small amount of the closing costs. بس بنفس الوقت if the buyer and the agent's smart enough, they could ask the seller, hey, seller, we have a buyer for you. Give us $20,000 of closing cost.
Yes.
And the closing cost could go toward buying down the loan, the rate. So if he want to go from 7 and then the seller's giving him a $10,000 gift or 10,000 closing costs, we take the $10,000 and we buy the rate down to get him a lower rate and lower fees and lower costs and everything that. And it's lately we've been getting a lot of closing costs from the seller.
Yes.
We give him the price, but we'll tell him, okay, give us $20,000, give us $30,000 of closing costs للbuyer. Instead of for the buyer to buy the property from that particular seller.
يعني نقدر نقول ان في sellers concession في الوقت الحالي.
Yes, a lot.
A lot.
A lot of concession. لأنه السيلر بده attract the buyer. and بده يبيع فبنقول له اوكي بس اعطيه 20,000 اعطيه 30,000 incentive عشان يجي الباي لانه في بيت ثاني available next door to you or 2 street down وبعطوه incentive. فناو the seller is competing for that buyer. One buyer is now they're looking for 3 homes. So the three sellers competing for one buyer. Before was different. Before was one seller وعندك 20 buyers.
More كمان.
Yeah, that's a different now.
Yes,
it's a different level.
مظبوط.
Yeah.
طيب الناس لما بتبقى برضو عندها مشكلة في الداون بيمنت مستر توفيق لأن دي أكتر مشكلة بتواجه الناس كلها. كمان حضرتك قلت الداون بيمنت والإنكم والكريدت سكور الثلاثة الثري بيلرز وفي نفس الوقت الديت تو إنكم ريشيو.
Yes, that's important.
طيب الديت تو إنكم ريشيو بيحدد نوع برضو بيساعد في تحديد نوع اللون ولا لا؟
Yes, لأنه إذا عنده lot of debt عنده دفعات كتيرة مثلا car payment or credit card and عنده مثلا student loan فwe'll look at it and the ratio المورجج payment يعني عندك 3 mortgage payment عندك المورجج تبع اللون عندك التاكسز وعندك الانشورنس there's the 3 إذا عندك أنت a condo you may have another 4 payment the condo association ففي 4 different payments so we add those payments and then we take his credit card and all his expenses. That will be another a bucket of expenses.
Yes.
And then we take that and divide it on his income, ratio-wise. So إذا مثلا عنده $5,000 بالشهر expenses, include the taxes, include the mortgage, his income is $10,000 a month, then that's you are up to 50%.
Yes, correct.
So 50%. FHA they could go up to 56 or 58 فعشان هيك الكونفنشن يقول لك no you have too much expenses. Okay, then we have 2 choices. بنقول له okay could you pay off some of your credit card عندك extra cash could you borrow money from uncle or aunt to pay off the credit card لأنه then the ratio will go down وعندنا كتير عملناها to drop the ratio to like 45 46 then we'll put them in the conventional loan. We'll get a better rate or better terms. Or we have to go to the FHA loan. So that the issue with the ratio it's كمان important لأنه decide what loan we're going to give you, the conventional or the FHA, based on your ratio and the credit.
Yeah. أفهم من كده إن حضرتك مثلا ال FHA بيديني داون بيمنت قليل.
Yes,
3.5 ممكن يديني حوالي 60% من الديت تو انكم لا 58%
58 55
يعني في الحدود دي.
الكونفنشنال
ما بيدهنيش
الكونفنشنال مور ستريكت
عاوز الديون تبقى اقل من كده اقل من 50%.
مظبوط.
كمان
الفايكو سكور
اقل
FICO score لل FHA 580 or 560 I see them sometimes. The conventional no 620 and above.
يعني
فعندك FICO score is important. فعشان هيك it's very tricky. We have to look at your FICO score. We got to look at your income. We got to look at your ratio, all that, and put it in the calculation. We say, okay, based on this, you cannot qualify for conventional. You got FHA. بس بقول لك, okay, no, I want a conventional. بدي أوطى. بقول, okay, then lower your FICO score or your debt ratio. You have the choices. ومرات مثلا متطلع على الكريدت تبعته عنده collection he forgot to pay آخر 2-3 years medical bill or something. بقول okay, once you pay it and ask for the company like the hospital to remove it from your credit. Tell them I missed the payment. I'm sorry. I was out of town. Or you send it to the wrong address. Could you please remove it? I'm going to pay you. So sometimes the company will remove it from your credit, then the FICO score could go up a little bit, some more rapid FICO score.
Yes.
But we do that to help him to get his FICO score from maybe عندي واحد آخر واحد كان almost 550 we upped it to 650 by paying a few collection, paying a few credit card رفعناها. فعشان هيك يعني بسموه زي ما انت سألتي وانت لازم نبلش نشتغل من اولها before he start buying a house.
بالضبط.
Let me look at your credit, FICO or income and see if we could يعني بسموه entice it, help you to make it better for the bank to get qualified.
يعني شهرين 3 متهيألي مستر توفيق قبل ما اكون لو انا اول مره اشتري بيت ومش عارف I need time عشان على الاقل لو to repair the credit or to pay off any collection or whatever.
Yes.
طيب افهم من كده ان الاف اتش اي هل هو easier to obtain ولا برغم كل المميزات دي فالحصول عليه بيبقى صعب؟
لا الاف اتش اي it's the easiest. بس في ناس بيجي عنده طب عندي ايزي بس انا عندي فايكو 480 بقول له اوكي forget it we cannot get you the FHA it doesn't matter your FICO score is too low let's work on your credit first.
Yes.
فعشان هيك من كله لما في ناس بيحكوا معنا my I have a problem with my credit بقول له بلاش we don't want to pull your credit right now there's a free service right now they call it freecreditreport.com.
Yes.
It's a nationwide. You pay $20 and it's not an inquiry on your credit and you pull the three company and you could look at your FICO score and look at all the collection or anything or late payment so you could see it. فمن كله okay pull it خلينا نطلع عليها we help him with the credit and then we see the credit looks good and no problem then we'll go to the income. Let's us look at the income see where you are and then look at the down payment. Every pillar we got to look evaluate it, give him our opinion, what to do, what not to do, what to correct, what not to correct, and then go to the next step. Then that's the 3 pillar we have to fix first.
Yes.
Yeah. بس في عنا buyer, they're perfect in the 3.
Yeah.
Then they will say, okay, what's my choices? We'll say, okay, conventional, go at a lower rate, get a better terms, but you have to go to conventional.
تمام. طيب الكونفنشنال بيتر ريت او البيتر تيرمز اللي عندهم ايه؟ يعني مثلا لو قلنا ده هيديني كام وده هيديني كام، لو انا هاخد بنفس بالتفاصيل كلها ويعني بنفس الانكم بنفس الداون بيمنت بنفس الكريدت وانا قدمت او يعني انا qualified for both.
Yes.
ما عنديش مشكله.
Conventional is always the cheapest.
The cheapest.
Rate wise.
Rate wise.
Rate wise. That's always cheaper rate wise and the FHA required to have an extra insurance, type some more extra insurance you have to buy for the FHA, FHA guarantee insurance. The conventional, they don't have that insurance on it. It's a little bit cheaper cost, lower rate, and then it's a better terms for compared to FHA. FHA, it's more like the people have an issue.
Yes.
One issue, the credit issue or the income issue or the ratio issue. FHA بيجي okay, oh I'm sorry you don't qualify for conventional. The government stepped in and said okay we'll help you. That there is a gap between buyers that okay my God I'm in the margin I'm in the gray area and the bank is saying no and the government say you know what we'll give you a chance.
Yes.
We'll take you because you're at the gray area. Not in the bad area, but you're in the gray.
Yes.
So we take you and give you the chance. But we need to have insurance. We have to have a higher rate لأنه we're taking a risk. فعشان هيك ال FHA بيجي لل people has that on the margin.
Yes.
Yeah.
طب لو قلنا ريت 7 الكونفنشنال هيديني على 7 الاف اتش اي يديني على كام؟
Typically it's about 7.25, 7.3. It should be higher a little bit. Yeah, 0.25% to 0.3% higher than the conventional. So you get the conventional better. لأنه the conventional إذا عندك مثلا good FICO score, you get a lower rate. If you have a good down payment, you get a lower rate. But the conventional is incentive to get the best program based on the conventional, based on all these 3 pillars, the one we're talking about. The FHA, they're like more like خلاص أنت you don't qualify, we're gonna give you this rate, you have no option.
Other choice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
تمام. طيب هل الناس في الوقت ده مستر توفيق يعني انت شايف ان هو still 2023 is a good chance for buying frankly talking يعني برغم الابس اند داونز وبرغم ان في انفليشن وبرغم ان في بنوك وقعت وده جديد على الاقتصاد الامريكي
Yes.
يعني يمكن في 2008 كان سوق العقارات اللي وقع لكن البنوك ما تأثرتش
مظبوط.
لكن دلوقتي سوق العقارات صامت.
Yeah. صامد كتير
يعني ما تأثرش كتير، يعني ما زال سوق العقارات صامد، وما زال يعني يمكن لاندرز خرجوا شويه في الفتره الاخيره، لان طبعا ما فيش ريفاينانس زي الاول، ما فيش بيع زي الاول، ما الناس ما بتشتريش زي الاول، لكن برضو الناس علشان يطمنوا ويقدروا يعرفوا اذا كان هم في الرايت تراك ولا لا، ايه اللي المفروض يعرفوه في الوقت الحالي؟
انه اذا هن بدهم يشتروا for the long terms، يعني اذا انا مثلا جاي as a first time home buyer and I'm looking for the next 5 or 10 years, this is the safest ever, the real estate. لانه اذا بتطلع على stock market up and down and it's very bad investment. The real estate for the long term is the safest investment. فاذا بتطلع اخر 30 سنه بالreal estate, the houses that we used to buy 30 years ago at 200, now it's $2 million. In the last 30 years went up and down, but it never went back to 200,000. Okay? بس إذا بتطلع على stock market today, Swiss credit, Swiss bank, and now it's $2. It used to be $30. So it's like, wow, it dropped like 80%. You don't see 80% drop in the real estate.
Yes.
You may see 7%, you may say correction 10%, it may say maybe 15, but never will go back to 80% drop in the market. That will be a disaster, but we never see it in 30, 40 years in the real estate. فعشان هيك احنا we talk to the customer and say إذا أنت your short terms, then wait. إذا بدك سنة سنتين بدك تشتري بيت وتظبطه وتبيعه، بقول لك okay, no, that's not the right time. بس إذا بدك 5 years or 7 years or 10 years, yeah, go ahead and get it, even at a high rate. If you got a good deal and a good house, just buy it. لأنه the rate is going to eventually come down. لأنه the market is, the inflation is not going to stay that high. فلما الانفليشن be under control, the Fed has to drop the rate anyway. فعشان هيك بنقول له okay, take it for next 2-3 years and refinance, and then you have a better opportunity. You own the house that you love to own, and you want to move in with your family. The school important, the area, the safest, and the منطقة اللي بدك إياها.
تمام. الجامبو لون وضعه ايه دلوقتي مستر توفيق؟
ما هو that's the riskiest one. لأنه it's, you know, you get into $1 million, $1.5 million loan, they call it the jumbo loan, and those the one is we are having a lot of pressure on them. I mean the prices. لأنه in the $2 million house now it's dropping like 10%. You know, a $600,000 house it dropped 5%. For those the big one dropping more than the smaller one. لأنه 500,000 in California to about $1 million, that's very high in demand, always. First-time home buyer, they come into that market between 300 to about $1 million. Those the average. But when you step over $1 million, $1.5 million, it's different level of qualification. And typically, هدول الناس اللي sold their house and they're moving up, they call it. يعني they sold their house at 700 or 800, and now because they have so much equity, they want to move to $1.2 million or $1.5 million.
Yes.
But these the one now we see the difficulty over $1 million in the real estate that taking a little bit higher, lower prices on those big ones.
تمام. في ريفاينانس دلوقتي مستر توفيق، يعني في ناس بتيجي تقول لك انا عايز اعمل ريفاينانس.
Yes, in the desperate situation, لأنه مثلا they have a issue with financial, they have to pay for their mortgage, or I mean they have to pay for their business, or their, you know, they need the money for surgery, or they need money for this, or divorce, and they want to come up with the money. We give them two choices. We say, okay, what's your interest rate on your first, and then we find out, let's say 3.5 or 3. بنجرب نعطيه line of credit. The line of credit has become more popular. The line of credit is more like a second trustee against the house.
اللي هو الهوم equity loan.
Home line of credit.
Home line of credit.
Yes. Line of credit. It's almost like a credit card, but the loan is tied up to the house and become a second. فإذا بدكش تعمل refinance at the higher rate 7.5 or 7 or 6.5, then we recommend to keep your first. Let's say your first $500,000 now, and the $500,000 loan, it's at 3%. لأنه average was 2.5 to 3.5. So let's say the average 3%. بس عنده the house بيسوى $1 million, $1 million. So he has a $500,000 in equity. He want to pull cash لأنه بده يشتري business, or he want to pay for something emergency. So we recommend for him to get a line of credit against the house. Keep your first trustee, خلي الفirst trustee at 3%, and then we give him up to 80% of his equity. That means is maximum 800,000 loan based on $1 million, simple math.
Yes.
800,000. Then the 800,000 will remove the $500,000. We'll keep it as a $500,000. Then you'll leave you with 300,000 as a line of credit. So now the bank will give you 300,000 line of credit. It's a line of it's open line of credit. That means is you give you a checkbook, and then you want to spend 50,000 today. 6 months later, you want to spend 100,000. Then you write a check to whatever you want, and they give you maximum 300,000. It's similar to the credit card, where the credit card give you a limit of 10,000 or 20,000. But this one is a large amount. It could be 300,000. We had some people at 400,000 equity line of credit. بس مثلا المشكله انه بديش ال 400,000 انا بديش بس بدي 100 بنقول اوكي عندك 300,000 use 100,000 his payment is going to be based on the 100,000 not on the 300,000 so every month the bank will see okay what's your balance. Oh, your balance now is 150. Oh, the new payment is 100 based on the 150. Here's a new statement, and they give him a new statement. Oh, you had a 50,000 buyout. You know you paid 50,000. Now your loan amount is 100,000. So they give you the payment based on the 100,000. So the line of credit is good. It's good to go back and forth, use it or pay it, and keep it open. And a lot of people used it. We have it. A lot of customers love that because, you know, especially on the business where they get a lot of cash, they're going to pay it. They get a lot of income. And then when they need the money, they could always borrow it against the line of credit.
يعني اللاين اوف كريدت مينز ان هو شخص مثلا عمل ايكويتي مثلا $300,000. ال 300,000 دول انا باخد منهم لغايه 80% من المبلغ نفسه ككريدت as if ان هو كريدت كارد.
يس بس انت بتاخدي البيت بعملوا لنا appraisal. كل simple math $1 million house and the appraisal came $1 million. Now we're going to say, well, how much your first? بقول لي okay, my first is $500,000, 500.
Yes.
So how much is equity is another $500,000, so half and half. So the bank is not going to give him a $500,000 line of credit. They can say no, it's too. That means 100%.
Yes.
So they give him all the way up to 80. Which
80
is
out of 500.
80 of the million.
Of the million.
So
okay.
Allow you to have 300,000 left.
Yes.
Out of the 800.
Out of the 800.
So 80% of the million is what? Is 800.
Yes.
But you minus the 500 and then leave you with
اللي هو قيمة القرض أو قيمة الأولاني.
Yes.
تمام.
Then they leave you with 300,000. So the 300,000 that will be your maximum line of credit.
تمام.
But you still have a 20%
yes.
cushion. The bank say no, we cannot give you 100%. We want to have enough equity in case the market crash. There is enough money. We're not going to lend you 100% of your equity. We're going to lend you only this amount of money. That's what it is.
يعني هو بيسلفني من الفلوس اللي أنا حوشتها already أو دفعتها في البيت.
Yes.
تمام.
equity.
وبعدين بدفع حسب المصاريف اللي صرفتها يعني زي أي بنك ستيتمنت أو أي زي كريدت كارد.
Yes.
فبالتالي أنا مثلا صرفت $50,000 من المبلغ فالستيتمنت بتيجي بال$50,000 وبدفع المينيمم بتاعها وهكذا.
مظبوط. بس الانترست ريت أعلى.
طبعا.
You have to understand. The first trustee today it's 7.
Yes.
The line of credit is going to be about 9.5 because it's a second trustee. عندك the first at 3.
Yes.
You know, oh, you're lucky you got a 3% 2 years ago.
Yes.
So you take a 300,000 as a second. The second is going to be at the higher rate.
Yes.
So that's the reason. بس ليش احنا بنطلع عليها هسه بنقول لك اوكي اذا بدك brand new first trustee at 800,000 لانه I can lend you up to 800,000 with the line with the brand new first trustee.
Yeah.
بس 800,000 at 7% today, wow, it's a big payment.
تمام.
بس إذا بناخذ ال $500,000 at 3 and then give you a 300,000 at 9, it's going to be
بيشيلوا بعض.
much better. Much cheaper.
Yeah. مستر توفيق احنا ما خلصناش الاسئله لكن خلصنا الحلقه للاسف الوقت خلص فاحنا في نهايه حلقتنا بشكرك جدا على المعلومات القيمه اللي حضرتك بتديها لنا وزي ما اتعلمنا يا جماعه او دايما تعودنا في برنامج خدمات البشاره دايما نسال اهل الخبره واهل المجال يعني نحاول طبعا زي ما قلنا ما ناخدش خبرات الاخرين لكن نروح للناس يعني اللي بتشتغل في المجال هي ادرى وفري كونسلتيشن، انت مش مجبر انك تدفع حاجه لو الموضوع مش مناسب ليك، لكن في فري كونسلتيشن تعرف انت فين موقفك فين عشان تعرف ازاي هتشتري ان ذا فيوتشر. استاذ توفيق بشاره، بشكرك جدا على
شكراً.
وجودك معايا، والحقيقه دايما منورنا في برنامج خدمات
Thank you.
البشاره.
شكراً.
ثانك يو فيري ماتش.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
أعزائي المشاهدين، الحقيقة الحلقة أكتر من رائعة كالعادة مع الأستاذ توفيق بشارة، خبرة في القروض العقارية، في الريال استيت، في البروبرتي مانجمنت، في البناء. الحقيقة يعني بيقدم خدمات كتيرة جدا. بشجعكم على التواصل معاه طبعا من خلال برنامج خدمات البشارة ومن خلال أرقام التليفونات الظاهرة على الشاشة. بفكر حضراتكم ان احنا في العد التنازلي لعيد القيامه، اخواتنا وحبايبنا في مصر، احنا كل سنه وحضراتكم طيبين، وان شاء الله تكون ايام سعيده علينا كلنا، وزي ما احنا عايزين نفرح هم كمان عاوزين يفرحوا. ودايما ما ننساش صاحب العيد، وصاحب العيد مش عاوز حاجه لنفسه لكن عايز لاخواته احبائه الاصاغر. فاحنا بنفكركم بكرتونه البشاره ان احنا بنحضر لكرتونه البشاره او المبلغ المادي اللي بنديه لاخوه الرب، وكل اسره بتكلف حوالي $50. اذا كان كرتونه البشاره هدوم بنجيبها، والعيديات اللي بنديها للاطفال عشان يفرحوا زي اي طفل عاوز يفرح. بفكركم بالموضوع ده، واحنا واثقين في يعني في سخائكم ومحبتكم، والعيد يوم 16 ابريل، واحنا طبعا شيء اقل من شهر، واحنا طبعا بنحضر الموضوع ده قبلها بفتره كافيه. بشكركم جدا على حسن المتابعه، اراكم على كل خير، تصبحوا على خير.